perhaps ask Mark Ugoretz to comment on this. I don't think it's any secret, there is a lot of hesitancy among employers in sponsoring defined benefit plans, pension plans these days, because of the not only potential but very real financial consequences and risks of doing that, and the volatility that gets reflected. And it's showing up among employers who never, would have worried about this before. People like governments, they can just go out and raise taxes if they want to pay for something. All of a sudden are finding themselves very, very pinched. And Mark, I know, well, I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Waiting for you to finish the sentence before I interrupted you. We represent large employers. I've got 2 minutes to respond to what people have been working on for the last 25 years. I thought I'd back up just a moment. Richard's absolutely correct. Over the last several years, employers have been increasingly concerned over the volatility of funding their pension plans, and frankly, it is for many of them, it has just become unacceptable. And as a result, 25 years ago, the Fortune 100 had about 95% of the Fortune 100, for example, had defined benefit plans. Alicia Manel noted the other day that now it's down to about 12%. If that's not a trend, I don't know what is, and I think it's something that ought to strike a great deal of concern, if not fear, in people's hearts, people who are concerned about the viability of providing the kind of benefits that we're talking about today. I'd like to back up for just a moment, however, and talk about the fact that large employers, and any employer, provides a pension benefit not only because out of concern for their workers, but also for business purposes. It's recruitment, it's retention, they're competing for talent, and they're looking for the ability to manage their workforce. There's a strong business purpose in providing these benefits, as well as health benefits, by the way. Their employers are continually seeking certainty. They're seeking flexibility and the ability to manage risk, a great deal of which has been undercut over the past several years. They also need the ability to change as economic circumstances and their businesses have changed. I took a look around, and among my members and the members of other organizations that represent employers, the vast majority of them are no longer in the same business that they were in 25 or 30 years ago, when some guy who was 60 years old today started with that company. That guy has to be taken care of as well. So there needs to be a way of adjusting the ability of the employer to manage that level of the workforce. With regard to the plans that have been presented today, they respond to many of the issues that have undercut support for defined benefit plans. For example, there's greater certainty for employers and employees in many of these. There's more discipline than in a standard 401k plan today. There's probably less risk for employees than a pure DC arrangement, but also a lot less opportunity for upside gain, particularly with the variable benefits. Obviously, the idea of variable benefits responds to a great deal, but there's still an issue that will have to be sold to employees even if it can be sold to employers and those who work with them. The lifetime income and annuities is something that people have strived for many, many years. It seems to be, even though large employers have always offered it, it seems to be a very hard sell well, it's a hard sell to my mother, actually. My mother is 96 years old. She's retired. And she is totally invested in the market and doing better than I am, actually. But I can't explain to her why, either in an annuity arrangement or a mutual fund, she should have to pay somebody to give her back her money. And I've explained risk allocation to her, and she just doesn't, she's not buying it.
Mark, we know who you learned from.
It's, yeah. I wish that were true. The other issue here going on is that several plans refer to a conservative investment requirement, a mandate for, I don't know what that means. We've had recently a big fight over requirements of conservative investment in terms of, does it bar either the investment managers or in an annuity arrangement, for example, the people who are actually providing the annuities, does it bar them from utilization of what most people would, in our side of the game, refer to as reasonable hedging requirements? Who sets that standard? How's it going to be applied? Who's going to be looking at it? Most of these plans are less simple than they appear to be. We played with this about 6 years ago and came out with a proposal for something similar to the large pooling arrangements, and we got to step one. We couldn't get to step two on how we were going to get people to run these plans, who was going to be liable for them, where the fiduciary liability was going to rest, although we knew damn sure we didn't want it to rest with us. We want it, like everybody else, we want that elsewhere. One of the plans, and Karen referred to the Netherlands plan, and we were both part of a symposium a while back where they described that plan, and it's a fascinating plan. But one of the things that the Dutch experts have explained to us was that this idea of nationally shared risk is based on a country that is below sea level. It's guarded. This is true. It's a country below sea level. It's guarded by seawalls. And there is, historically and culturally, a communal fear of being overwhelmed by the sea. And it is ingrained in their culture, and it has resulted in a much stronger acceptance of communal and collective arrangements. Now, you go on in this presidential debate today, and you argue for collective arrangements, and you're going to get burned. You have to reconcile the culture of the Netherlands and other places with the culture of the United States, and we all think, and I think wrongly, by the way, personally, and I'm speaking for myself here, and I'll take Michael Krebs's disclaimer as my own. We don't have a very strong feeling for collective arrangements here. We all think we're going to be better off doing it on our own, and if we fail, we're going to go west. There's always someplace else to go if it doesn't work. I don't think it's a smart part of our culture, but it's there.